This video is now in session, and the Biden Department of Justice it's going in a very weird phase at this very moment. So, for the Biden DOJ, there have been three primary news that have come out of the system. First, we have the reports that the Biden DOJ is is planning to, or not planning to, but throughout the first parts of the administration of Biden's presidency, they continued the Trump era policies of wiretapping the New York Times along with other news organizations. The second thing is that the Biden DOJ is representing in favor of the Trump era policies at the North Slope oil projects in Alaska. The Biden DOJ is representing that lawsuit against climate activists. And finally, just today, or as of, I guess I'm recording this on June 8th, but on June 8th, the Biden DOJ announced that they would represent Trump in the Jean Carroll case, so the defamation lawsuit related to sexual assault and things pertaining to that. So those are three unusual things for Biden to do. Biden obviously denounced Trump on his sexual assault allegations. Biden has said that he has always stated that he's in favor of the free press, and Biden has stated that he wants to move America away from fossil fuels. Yet the Biden Justice Department does not reflect that. And it's not necessarily a disconnect between the DOJ and Biden, so as much as it's trying to keep the status quo in a way that doesn't go off the hook. So, currently, the Attorney General Merrick Garland represents is the head of the DOJ, and he is taking more of a supposedly institutionalist role by trying to ease down all of Trump's his predecessors' tactics. So Bill Burr's tactics. And it's not going popular with Democrats at all because all three of those things I just mentioned, they are all things that Democrats detest, and they're all things that Trump promulgated in his administration. So the fact that Merrick Garland is continuing with these things is pretty repulsive to a lot of Democrats who gave him the benefit of the doubt because of how Senate Republicans treated him in the 2015 confirmation. So that's what's happening at the DOJ. And in terms of what impact this would have, it's most likely for a lot of these cases not to have much impact at all. For the Jean Carroll case, we expect that the appeals court, if you don't know this case, by the way, this involves a defamation lawsuit where Carroll is sued Donald Trump for defamation. And what William Barr did, or AG Barr did, was he decided to make this a federal case instead of a New York case. So he brought this federally, and he made the argument that you cannot defame or you cannot pursue charges against a sitting president or a federal employee for defamation. And if he brought that up in the federal courts, and that was his justification, even though these defamation, the actual parts of defamation happened before Trump's presidency. So Jean Carroll won against Barr in the district courts, I believe. If it states here, but what happened was that William Barr appealed that decision in the last day of Trump's presidency, and Merrick Garland's DOJ has now essentially filed a brief for this case. It was expected that they would drop this case, yet they did not drop this case. Now, while it's likely to go in favor of Jean Carroll in the appeals court, the fact that Merrick Garland did allow Trump's side to go through is pretty surprising for a lot of Democrats. And is this going to continue? These kinds of more not moderate, but rather more Trump-era policies? Most likely. We're expecting to see more of this come in the future, and it's signaling not of a Trump era policy, like continuing Trump's legacy, but rather it's about an authoritarian government. We saw this under the Obama administration, where the Obama administration, even though it championed the free press, even though it championed a lot of libertarian values, ultimately in the DOJ, it was pretty authoritarian in terms of its reach. So that's what we're likely to expect from the Biden DOJ, as we've expected from the Trump DOJ. And don't be surprised in the future if you see more cases of these where Biden continues Trump era policies in the DOJ, for the sake of authoritarian rule. Now, obviously, for the First Amendment case about the news organizations, here the Washington Post has an op-ed, but but for this specific policy, Biden has backed down, and he said he never was aware of this policy, and he could probably use that excuse for a lot of these cases, but it's a little bit frightening to see it, to know that Joe Biden is not really aware of these kinds of cases, because they are very big cases, like trying to wiretap the media for exposing whistleblowers and then getting a gag order to make sure that the news companies can't release what they've heard is pretty appalling. But but again, that's just how the Biden administration seems to be rolling for now, and that seems to be Merrick Garland's direction for the DOJ for the next couple of years. So that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. This video is now adjourned, and I'll see you in the next one.